Olá pessoal, welcome back to Playing Portuguese, where you learn how to form and use the imperfect subjunctive and speak like a Brazilian. If you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe and catch up on the lessons you have missed. Oh, you already are a subscriber? Wanna help me help you learn Portuguese? Then give the lessons you like a thumbs up. That helps a lot the channel. Some lessons ago, we were introduced to the future subjunctive, a verb tense widely used in Portuguese to talk about future actions that will or won't happen if, when, while, as soon as something else happens in the future. If by any chance you missed that lesson, I strongly recommend you watch it before this one. Why is that, Pia? Because I will need your understanding on how verbs are conjugated in the future subjunctive so that you can conjugate them in the imperfect subjunctive, which is the first thing you will do in today's lesson. After learning how to conjugate verbs in this new verb tense, you will learn a few uses of it. We won't see all of its uses. Yes, I don't want to overwhelm you, so I have selected a few common uses with examples, and finally, you'll have the chance to see how much I have learned by taking our quiz, which I highly recommend you do. Vamos começar? Let's learn the imperfect subjunctive, o pretérito imperfeito do subjuntivo. In order to conjugate any verbs in the imperfect subjunctive, regular, irregular verbs, any verbs, do as you did when conjugating them in the future subjunctive. Look back to the past. Yes, just like the future subjunctive, the imperfect subjunctive of regular and irregular verbs is formed from the third person plural of the simple past. Say you have the verbs falar, entender, and pedir. So, in the third person plural, simple past, yesterday they spoke, they understood, they asked for something. Eles falaram, eles entenderam, eles pediram. This time you will need to drop the final RAM ending. So drop the final RAM, yes, RAM ending, and form the imperfect subjunctive by adding the following endings. Eu falasse, você, ele, ela falasse, nós falássemos, vocês, eles, elas falassem. Muito bem. The imperfect subjunctive has this se, semos, sem endings, yeah? Let's conjugate entender, another regular verb. So, they understood what I said. Eles entenderam. Drop the final RAM ending and add the se, semos, sem endings. Eu entendesse. You're repeating after me, aren't you? Eu entendesse. Você entendesse. Ele, ela entendesse, nós entendêssemos, vocês, eles, elas entendessem. Do the same with pedir. So yesterday they asked for something. Eles pediram. Drop the final RAM ending and add the se, semos, sem endings. Eu pedisse, você, ele, ela pedisse, nós pedíssemos, vocês, eles, elas pedissem. Now let's choose a few irregular verbs. Estar, dizer, ir. I'll remind you of the third person plural form in the past. So, estar. Ontem eles estiveram. You know what to drop and you know which endings to add. Eu estivesse, você, ele, ela estivesse, nós estivéssemos, vocês, eles, elas estivessem. Dizer, you will love this one. Don't forget to repeat after me. In the past, ontem eles disseram. Drop the final R-A-M and add the semos, sim. Eu dissesse, não, cesse. Eu dissesse, você, ele, ela dissesse, nós disséssemos, vocês, eles, elas dissessem. Muito bem. Now, yesterday they went. Ontem eles foram. Drop the final R-E-M ending and add the semos, sim. Yes. Eu fosse, você, ele, ela fosse, nós fôssemos, vocês, eles, elas fossem. Muito bem. These are not the only irregular verbs, but now you know how to conjugate any verbs, regular, irregular, no exceptions, in the imperfect subjunctive, no pretérito imperfeito do subjuntivo. Look back to the past, drop the final R-A-M ending of the third person plural, and add the se, semos, sem endings. How about learning now some, not all, of its uses in Brazilian Português? The imperfect subjunctive, o pretérito imperfeito do subjuntivo, is used to express contrary to reality events or unlikely events. Examples, Bia? Here you are. He doesn't speak Portuguese. He doesn't understand what Brazilians say. Ele não fala português. Ele não entende o que os brasileiros falam. So, this is a fact. This is the reality. Ele não fala português. Ele não entende o que os brasileiros falam. Let's imagine something contrary to reality. And if he spoke Portuguese? If he spoke Portuguese, he could understand what Brazilians say. He won't understand what Brazilians say. Yeah? Se ele falasse português, ele poderia, ele poderia entender o que os brasileiros falam. Se ele falasse português, ele entenderia, ele entenderia o que os brasileiros falam. Se ele falasse português, he doesn't speak Portuguese, but se ele falasse português, ele poderia entender o que os brasileiros falam. Se ele falasse português, ele entenderia o que os brasileiros falam. Another example. She knows some Portuguese, but she doesn't study every day. This is a fact. Let's make an assumption contrary to reality. If she studied every day, what would or could happen, Se ela estudasse todos os dias, poderia ficar fluente mais rapidamente. Se ela estudasse todos os dias, ficaria fluente mais rapidamente. As you can see, there is an if sentence combined with a could, would sentence. So, use the imperfect subjunctive, pretérito perfeito do subjuntivo, in the if part combined with the sentence in the futuro do pretérito, where we have these ria endings. Falaria, poderia, iria, entenderia. You'll find the link to the lesson on futuro do pretérito in the description box below just in case. Yeah? Well, let's practice a little bit this use of the pretérito imperfeito do subjuntivo before heading to the next one. Okay, so this is a fact. He doesn't have a car, he takes the bus every day. But if... Se ele tivesse um carro, não pegaria o ônibus todos os dias. Se ele tivesse um carro, não pegaria o ônibus todos os dias. Oh, it's also possible to invert the sentence. I can say, ele não pegaria o ônibus todos os dias se tivesse um carro. Ele não pegaria o ônibus todos os dias se tivesse um carro. Another fact about him. He meets his friend on the bus while going to work. But if he didn't take the bus, would he meet his friend? Se ele não pegasse o ônibus, não encontraria sua amiga. Se ele não pegasse o ônibus, não encontraria a sua amiga. Where is she? Oh, she's at work. And if she weren't at work, where would she be? Se ela não estivesse no trabalho, estaria na praia. She's at work, but if she... Se ela não estivesse no trabalho, estaria na praia. But the beach is 4 hours far from where she lives. And if the beach weren't that far? Se não fosse longe, ela iria à praia todos os dias. Se não fosse longe, ela iria à praia todos os dias. Ready to learn some other uses of the pretérito imperfeito do subjuntivo before taking our quiz? Remember that we're talking about contrary to reality events, unlikely events. The subjunctive mood itself has more to do with these abstract things rather than facts. Yeah? So you will learn eventually the present subjunctive, but it's important that you know that both present and imperfect subjunctive are used to express wishes, emotions, impersonal expressions, recommendations, doubt, desire, denial. Oh, I hope. I'm not a big fan of this acronym, weirdo, but it seems to help learners remember when to use the subjunctive. Yeah? If it helps you, I'm glad. Since today our class is about the pretérito imperfeito do subjuntivo, let's see how this works in the imperfect subjunctive. Well, wishes. He is never punctual, this is a fact. His teacher wanted that he be on time. That he be on time is not a fact. It's his teacher's wish. Ela queria que ele fosse pontual. Ela queria que ele fosse pontual. By the way, que can never be omitted in Portuguese, yeah? Ela queria que ele fosse pontual. Emotions. When she was his teacher, she was afraid that he would miss too many lessons. Ela tinha medo que ele perdesse muitas aulas. I don't know how many lessons he missed, but she was afraid that he would miss too many lessons. Ela tinha medo que ele perdesse muitas aulas. Impersonal expressions are like, it's important that, it's good that, but since we are dealing with the imperfect subjunctive, it would be good, it would be important, yeah? So, it would be better. Seria melhor se ele chegasse na hora. Seria melhor se ele chegasse na hora. Recommendations, requests, in fact, his teacher asked that he be on time. Ela pediu que ele fosse pontual. Ela pediu que ele fosse pontual. What if he didn't wake up earlier than usual? So, doubt, yeah? E se ele não acordasse mais cedo que o normal? E se ele não acordasse mais cedo que o normal? We don't know whether he changed his behavior after his teacher's request or not. Now we go to the oh, I hope, yeah, or I hoped. She hoped he would change his behavior. Ela esperava que ele fosse mudar seu comportamento. Or, ela esperava que ele mudasse seu comportamento. I can also use gostaria. Ela gostaria que ele mudasse seu comportamento. The subjunctive, guys, the subjunctive is an extensive subject to go through. Learn it little by little. Baby steps. Watch this lesson over and over, and then the next time, the next lesson, the subjunctive is tackled, you will feel much more confident to see other uses of it. Words and phrases that, trigger the use of the subjunctive mode in Portuguese. Don't feel overwhelmed by the amount of information seen, but challenged. Yeah, that's a good word. Feel challenged to understand this contrary to reality structure, this contrary to reality events. Take the quiz to see how much you have learned. Thank you for watching another lesson. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And see you next time. Até a próxima. Tchau!